maybe it's just where I am in life, but in midlife, it's becoming obvious, so obvious to me that everything I've done, even the little weird things, everything I've done is preparing me for what I'm going to do next. We say someone's grumpy or someone's in a bad mood, right? There's a Mars grumpy bad mood. There's a Saturn grumpy bad mood. There's even a Venus grumpy bad mood, and a Moon grumpy bad mood. Even a Mercury, right? So there's different like nuances and flavors, but it's useful to be able to use the language. I think sometimes we just get stuck in saying, "Oh, it must be this," or "It must be this," or "It's not ever going to be this." We might say this is the prominent thing, but it's always going to be more nuanced. And I think part of this language is being able to appreciate and give voice to the nuance.
Sun in the fourth house, most harmonious. Jupiter in the eighth. They're the two most harmonious. So spending time with family is, yeah, I like spending time with family. That feels like just harmony. It almost always goes well for me.
Okay, so I think of creating family. And I don't necessarily mean kids. I mean, I could see it, I could say creating space. Or with the fourth house, I might say creating a space. So if you think of, you said Jupiter is the most harmonious planet. Is that what you said?
They're the two most. They're the two most powerful and the two most harmonious.
All right. So if we start with the sun, if we just start with the sun and we say, what are some examples of leaning into sun, just without the house or anything? Just general examples of leaning into the sun as the most harmonious planet.
Taking up leadership roles or positions where you're sovereign.
Yeah. Part of I feel, maybe I'm making this up, but part of the fairy tale of harmony is that it's easy. It's more if you do it, it's good. Like if you do it, it's easy, but sometimes doing it is not easy for whatever reason. Maybe the discord, maybe our early experiences. And so what I really want to get across in this conversation is if we use our effort to consciously move into the direction of our harmony, that's the best thing we can do for ourselves. So even if someone says something, or you're talking to someone and you say, you're leaning into your harmony, I'd say more cases than not, they're going to look at you and they're going to have excuses and reasons why they can or why they shouldn't or why they don't. And so part of it is getting them to get over that and convince them that if you move in this direction, good things will happen. So what do you think about what Blaze said, Brian?
A lot of things I think about what he said. Where to start is at the moment the most difficult. But one of the places of doubt to start from, to work on, would be that idea of leadership. It feels like leadership's supposed to be hard to come across. So but I can point to examples in life where I got put into leadership positions without really having to work for it very much.
So again, that can be a manifestation of harmony, but it kind of uses up all the harmony,
Right, but also you're supposed to work for a leadership.
I mean, kind of, but not necessarily. I would say one of the things with the sun, and this also applies to Leo, and you have the moon and Jupiter and Leo, is the idea of earned applause. And it's not exactly the same as having to work for something, right? Earning it. Sometimes having confidence. Sometimes just having confidence earns the confidence of others in you.
Yeah, I guess the harmony might is like sometimes it's hard to tell the difference.
Say more, please.
Oh, pity claps. You know,
Say more, or say more.
pity
I didn't hear it.
claps or calling a dog. You know, like oh, like you know,
What are
applauding.
those things? What do those things mean?
What do you mean? What do they mean? Like the definition of the words?
Yeah.
They're clapping for you because they feel bad for you would be the pity, or
Got it.
they're clapping for you to trick you would be the or, right, like to
Is
call you.
Brian a Saturn person?
That would be the third most powerful planet, and it would be in an opposition to the Jupiter. Very great, Blaze. Wonderful. Thank you. Yes. Insight, though, please. Add more to it.
Oh my god.
And there's
That's what I mean when I say there's going to be reasons and things that come up that
yeah.
block us
Oh,
from harmony. You know.
yeah. It's great. Right? Like to
Is
call you.
Brian a Saturn person?
That would be the third most powerful planet, and it would be in an opposition to the Jupiter. Very great, Blaze. Wonderful. Thank you. Yes. Making an effort and leading into it and doing like work trying to utilize the fourth and eighth house. I wasn't even trying to complain. It was just those are the thoughts that got triggered, right? That was like, oh, like, say more, you know. Those are just the those are just the thoughts that show up. And not saying that like I'm not presenting them as excuses. I feel like they were.
I mean, when I say excuses that way, I don't mean them as negative things. I just mean it's just one word to describe the stuff that gets in the way, and we all have them. So, like the whole point of me asking the question was to get it out, you know, because the stuff is in there, and it's not going to disappear by itself. Right? Is that having a safe place to get it out? What do they call those? Service stations or something? Service centers in Oregon for people to take psilocybin, and he's been doing a bunch of them. And he was saying that people change, and the way it felt is what helps it change is stuff that they can't let out until they take some psilocybin, and then the stuff is able to come out. You know? And then they feel better afterwards. So don't like. I'm not saying you're making excuses, but I am trying to pull out the stuff. You know?
All right. Yeah, that's cool. I just like it's something that I noticed with chart, right? And we've had our conversations about like being defensive, right? And like the self-righteousness and everything. And so one of the expressions of that for me is the thought that even talking about this stuff, even in like a safe place to do so, is complaining about it and not just letting it go.
Yeah. But that was a good example of Blaze recognizing Saturn.
Yeah, definitely.